Here's a video showing you the most important steps of brewing a perfect pour over. So the most important thing you need is good coffee. This here is our Kenya Nairi Kiagathu Peaberry. It's a lighter roasted coffee and it has a really nice tropical punch and kind of a slight hint of grape and very smooth towards the end. So very good coffee to do as a pour over. You also need a good carafe. This is one that's made by Hario, which I think is the best one. But if you just have something that can catch the coffee as it's being brewed, that's the most important thing. It could even be a cup. Next, you need the brewer or the filter holder. Once again, this is by Hario. I'm using a plastic one here. You can also get a ceramic one. They have metal ones as well. But the most important thing is to ensure that when the coffee is brewing, it stays at the optimal heat level. And in order to do that, either metal or plastic are the best ones. If you do use a ceramic one, make sure that you rinse it in really hot water beforehand to preheat the brewer. There are a number of different brewers out there, but Hario makes the best ones. This is the #2 brewer. There is a #1. The 1 just basically means it brews smaller cups. The #2 can brew 8 to 10 ounces or more. Getting the plastic brewer or the metal brewer is the most optimal ones because they heat instantly, and that's really important as you're brewing your pour over. The ceramic ones are more durable, but you really need to preheat them a lot under hot water in order to ensure that they get to the right temperature, or else they will cool down your coffee as it's being brewed. You'll also need a scale. Any scale that has grams, mils, and also has a timer on it is the best. If you don't have one that has a timer on it, just grab out your phone and time it as you're doing it. You also need a kettle. This kettle is the one by Fellow. It's a great kettle because the gooseneck is amazing, never spills, and it heats up very quickly and keeps that temperature for an hour, which is pretty optimal when you're serving a lot of coffee. You will also need a paper filter. This is also by Hario, but you really just need one that fits inside of their brewers. This is a #2 filter. They have the bleached ones and they have the non-bleached ones that you can get. Doesn't really matter. I find myself, even if it is not a bleached one, I still rinse it through a bunch of water to get rid of the paper flavor that's on it. The best temperature for your water should be 203 degrees. If you don't have the ability to set it to exactly 203 degrees, anywhere between 200 and 205 degrees is best. So if you're using water that is on a stovetop, after it starts bubbling and boiling, take it off and let it set for roughly a minute, and that should be just the right time. All right, let's start off by weighing some coffee beans. We're gonna use a 16:1 ratio, which means for every 1 gram of coffee, we're gonna add 16 mils of water. So in the end, we're gonna have 15 grams of coffee weighed out and 250 mils of water. We'll start off by tearing our holder. In this case, getting 15.1 grams is totally fine because there are times when coffee grounds get stuck inside of the grinder. We're gonna throw this in the grinder and we're gonna wanna set it to about medium to medium fine. This is about as fine as you wanna get here. We have our coffee ground. We're gonna get our carafe ready and get our filter holder placed right on top. Next, we're gonna place our filter on top of our filter holder. So we're gonna bend the edge, slide it all the way across. And what I'll usually do is I will press on the top end a little bit more because it tends to build up as you're brewing. You place it inside, push down all the way. And then, as I was mentioning earlier, it is very important to rinse off your paper filter before you start brewing. So that's what we're gonna do. We have our water, our kettle, set to 203 degrees and it's ready. We're going to pour water evenly over the top of it until the whole filter has been washed. Then we're gonna dump out that water. We're gonna place the filter back on top of the scale and we're gonna get it on. Then we'll pour the coffee grounds on top. And you want to make sure that it's even, so I give it a good shake before. Right as we begin our pours, we are going to press the start button. And we're actually going to do 5 intervals with 10 seconds in between. We're going to pour roughly 40 to 50 mils of water each time we pour. Let's begin. We're going to want to make sure that all of the water gets poured on top of the grounds. We're going to want to get to about 30 to 40 right here, so it's about 36, and give it a good shake. That will ensure that during the blooming process, which is happening right now, that all of the grounds are saturated. The blooming process kind of unlocks a lot of that flavor that's within it. So it's really important to let it bloom for about 40 seconds or so. 40 to 45 is what's recommended, I would say. Once we've gotten to 40 seconds, we want to give it another drop of water. We want to get to about 80 mils now. Let it sit for 10 seconds. So right at 1 minute, we're going to pour again. And on a third pour, I like to go the opposite way. This one, we're going to go all the way up to 150 mils. Remember to always keep your water inside. If you start to penetrate the outside layer of it, it just goes right through the coffee grounds and it will not taste very good. I'm going to add some more. And we basically want to be done pouring our water by 2 minutes. It's fine if you go over by a mil, under by a couple mils, go over by a couple mils. That's totally fine. On the last pour, I actually like to wait until it's about 150 at the bottom, 149 to 150, and then give it your last pour. Always swirling it until the very end. Right about now, I pour in the middle, and then I do one big swirl, and then that's how we get to 250, right at 2 minutes. Your coffee should be done brewing by about 3 minutes. Plus or minus 10 to 15 seconds or so is totally fine. As long as you don't get to above 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes or below 3 minutes, you've actually brewed a really nice cup of coffee. If you get below 3 minutes, then you might actually want to grind a little bit more coarse. If you're brewing above 3.5 minutes or so, you want to go a little bit more fine with your grind size. And we are right at 3 minutes. We're going to go until about 310 to 315. And then we're just going to pull that filter right off. And you may say, well, the water's not all the way out yet. That's totally fine, because the more you leave it towards the end, it's actually a little bit more bitter that way and it won't taste as good. Now, you have a great cup of coffee. Now you're ready to drink it. I'm excited for this. Wow, that's really good. Be sure to check out our other videos on brewing techniques that we have. Also check out our website. You can buy some bags there, straitcoffee.com. Check out our Instagram for posts that we have all the time when we have new events, new coffee releases and whatnot. Also, our TikTok does the same. Please subscribe to us if you like this video. Now I'm gonna enjoy this coffee. Oh man, it's really good. It's really good.